Alice Cooper at the Orpheum Theater, a really nice, probably centuries old theater in downtown Omaha, a really nice space. I've seen lots of cool shows there over the years.
It turns 100 next year.
Okay, so here's a shot of the Orpheum before the show started. So that's so you can see like where I was sitting. But what I like about this place is it's big enough from the stage perspective that you can put on a big Alice Cooper show, but it's not so big that it's an arena. So you still feel like people are not at this untouchable view. They're not so far away. They're actually kind of close. But you don't have to scale down the show. It didn't seem at all to me. That seemed like that was everything, right?
Yeah. And he's doing rooms like that. He's doing theaters and, spaces that are about that size in terms of capacity. But I think the theater is one of the coolest places to see Alice. The most recent time that I saw Alice before this last show at the Orpheum was on the stadium tour with Motley Crue.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, he has the production that can work in a stadium-sized venue, but when you see that production in a little intimate theater, it's just so much cooler, I think. I would prefer to see it that way.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at a little clip from the Alice Cooper show. Okay, it's one of Alice's most classic tunes, of course. With No More Mr. Nice Guy. I will say the set was a great mix of like all of his different eras.
Yes.
So he did have No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'm 18 under my wheels, like 70s stuff. He was doing some 80s stuff. He had Poison and Bed of Nails, which I want to talk about that for a second because I thought that was so weird. And when they played it, I actually texted you and I was like, Bed of Nails, like what? Some newer stuff, newer than that, like Feed My Frankenstein, and maybe even something newer than that. Although I'm not entirely sure, but it was a great broad base of songs. It was something for almost every era. Like I know he wasn't going to play something off like Zipper Catches Skin or Dada or any of his really like obscure early 80s records when he was like out of his mind, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love Alice Cooper. I've seen him many times. What's always so interesting about Alice is that I feel like his live shows are really about the show first and not necessarily the music second, but it's like the music just is a soundtrack to the show that he's putting on and like the story that he's telling, and he's developing these characters. And so I had people in the audience texting me the night of that show, just like, when can we get him back? This is like the best show I've seen in a long time. And people you would not expect that were like super pumped about Alice Cooper. And his voice is still great. He
Absolutely
sounds
was.
like, he always has. The thing I'll say about it is I feel like the older he gets, he just gets creepier. And so it all works together. Like he's older, like more, worn skin and features. Like, I feel like that works with the goth makeup still. Like, it's almost like he's getting kind of scarier the older he gets when he puts on all that makeup. So it works. He's doing it
hard. He's 77 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe the amount of energy that he had at 77 years old. I mean, there was no, he was very active on the stage. He wasn't just standing still. He ran from side to side and he was doing all the different things. And in addition to the music, a lot of the Alice's like wild production stuff. Like there's this time this woman came on pretending to be like a photographer or something. And she was trying to take a picture of Nita Strauss.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden somebody just lops her head off. And it's just like, whoa, wait, what just happened there?
Yeah.
And another guy got stabbed through the heart who was trying, and obviously these are props and that's what's going to happen when they come on, but it's still just like kind of shocking,
Well, I mean, that's his whole thing is shock rock. And of course he did bring the guillotine out. It always comes out. He had the straitjacket at one point. The straitjacket is always part of the show. And he had the snake. The boa is always part of the show as well. My most interesting story about Alice Cooper is something I read a long time ago, because Alice used to be very afraid of snakes. Like, he was petrified of snakes. And so as he started to, in the early years, develop this Alice Cooper character, he realized that Alice was supposed to be like a representation of fear. And he's like, if I'm afraid of snakes, then I'm going to incorporate it into the show and get myself over that fear, because that's what, you know, Alice would do. And so he did. And now, you know, he's got snakes all the time. I think he's got a really great relationship with his snakes. Like he's very
now he's comfortable with his snakes.
You know, and they're just part of the show. And he's had many snakes, obviously, over the years since the 70s. But I just love that story about him because he hated snakes. I hate snakes, so I get it. But
I don't. Yeah, I'm not a snake person.
No.
I love pets. Let me just tell you. I mean, we've talked about this. I'm a pet person, but I don't feel like you can communicate with a snake. And so, like, I just never. You never know if you're on the same page.
Well, and something that could potentially kill you while you sleep. Like, I don't know.
The band was really tight. I don't have everyone's name in the band, but I know that his bass player has been around with him for a very long time. He has 3 guitar players, which I don't know. I was thinking, does he really need 3 guitar players to present this music? And I was like, well, so what? I mean, who cares? I mean, it sounds good. And then one of the guitar players, of course, is Nita Strauss, and she's famous in her own right.
Yeah.
Because as I said in a different video where I was talking about it, I was like, because she's a shredder and a looker at the same time, and that just usually doesn't really happen all that often.
Yeah, well, you know, female guitar players in general are few and far between, especially playing this kind of music. So she is a unicorn from that perspective. But you know what's interesting is Alice at the show, like Alice has his pre-show meet and greet with fans, but there is also a post-show meet and greet with the band, not Alice, like just the band. So they definitely have their own personas, their own identities. People are wanting to meet the band. And Alice, like I said before, always has really, really high quality musicians that play for him. From what I hear, he's just like one of the most awesome people on the planet. He's very kind, and he's just one of the coolest guys in the business, I think.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely true that he is. And you know, you're not going to last this long in the business. I mean, starting in the late 60s, if you're just a jerk to everybody and you know you're just insufferable all the time. And he's seen the highs, he's seen the lows, he's seen the highs, he's seen the lows. So he knows what happens. I mean, it's always like that old adage, it's like, be nice to the people that you meet on your way up, because they're the same people that you're going to see on your way down.
Exactly.
You know? Because it always goes up and down, like no matter what.
I saw Alice like at a conference a couple of years ago. He did a panel with Smokey Robinson, of all people. Those two are apparently really good friends, and the two of them did a panel and had like a Q&A kind of session. And he is just like so fascinating to listen to. He, of course, talks a lot about his recovery, because that's another thing about him. I think that he went through recovery a long time ago. And so he's had a lot of years to like just be a really stand-up, awesome person, getting past all of that. And, you know, he definitely is one that's really, really fun to listen to if you ever get a chance to, I don't know, meet him, or if you're in his orbit in any way. Like he's a really like just a cool guy and super fun with a lot of great stories.
That's what he seems like. I touched on this a little bit earlier. The song "Bed of Nails" was a total surprise for me. Like, so we did a Rock of Aging video a couple of videos ago where it was like our lesson or whatever, where we're I forget what we called it, but
it was a homework assignment.
Homework assignment, that's what it was. It was our homework assignment, and I assigned Erika David Lee Roth, and she assigned me Alice Cooper Trash, which, believe it or not, I hadn't really heard. And you know, I will put a link to it, of course, so you should watch that video because it's good. But the long and short of it is, I ended up liking Trash, except for 2 songs. And one of the 2 songs I didn't like was Bed of Nails. So when he started playing that, I was like shocked. I was like, was it what? And then my buddy that I was with at the show was like, oh, this was a hit. I remember this being on the radio. I was like, you do? I had no recall of Bed of Nails being a hit, but it must have been because he's playing it at his show.
Yeah, it was a hit. I was so happy that you had done that for your homework assignment and then ultimately got to see the show live. Of course, my favorite song of his of all time is Poison, because I really again, like a lot of these like legacy artists, I really got involved in their music during that heyday of, you know, the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s. And so when Trash came out, that's when I really started to develop my love for Alice Cooper, and Poison is my all-time favorite Alice Cooper song. So thankfully he did sing that.
It's a classic. That is a really great song, and that's obviously, you know, I think I even said in that video that Alice Cooper, I'm sure, plays that every single night, and of course he did. I just am still going to be on record as saying I was surprised by Bed of Nails. That was just not one that I was expecting to be on the show. That's for sure. Now, one other thing that I don't know if he does this every night. I'm not really sure, but one of the encores when they came out after the show was they did Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Now, this was just maybe a week or so after Ozzy had passed, or maybe 2 weeks. I'm not sure. So I don't know if he's still doing it, but it was pretty cool hearing the band, you know, the Alice Cooper band playing Black Sabbath.
I think we talked about this on one of the last episodes of Rock of Aging. Like when Ozzy passed away, Alice posted something about it, but he said in his post that like he wished he would have known him better, which just surprised me. I just assumed like Alice and Ozzy were like tight.
Right. You would assume that.
I don't know that they really even knew each other that well. I'm sure they knew each other, but not really well.
Or in like the mid 70s when they were both like they partied like constantly and they were both out of control. Maybe they met and they just didn't remember.
Could be. Well, and his wife tours with him. His wife was on the stage.
She was the one who picked up his head, right?
Yes, I believe so. I think she was the one that got him in the guillotine in the first place, and then picked up. Well, I think she picked up his head later. Yes. But yeah, they've been married for a really long time, like a really long time. And they have kids together, and it's just kind of cool that that marriage has survived, and that there she is, and that that she goes out and she tours with him, and they have, you know, this relationship still. So that's pretty cool.
It is, and it's also they give her a role in the show, so she's not just like, oh yeah, that's Alice's wife. She just hangs out. I mean, she's got a big role in the show here. She's like on the stage, picks up Alice's head after he gets decapitated, parades it around on stage, and then whoa, Alice isn't dead. He's actually back. You know, when he comes back for the rest of the show.
Here he is.
But yeah, I thought this was really great. Another little weird thing was when he did Schools Out, and this is probably something they do a lot. During Schools Out, they started mixing in another Brick in the Wall from Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
And they started merging the two a little bit, almost like a little mashup or something.
That was cool.
I thought that was pretty cool too. I've been a lifelong fan of this kind of music. We both are. And, you know, we talked about this on previous episodes. I never saw Alice Cooper until this particular night, August 27th, 2025. That was my first time seeing Alice Cooper. And
that's amazing to me. Like, I can't believe you haven't seen him until then.
I've had so many opportunities over the years. And I just, for some reason or another, whenever it's right there in front of me, I'm always like, well, maybe next time. You know, and now I'm realizing he's 77. I mean, I don't know how many more next times are there going to be. I mean, he's still got a lot of energy and he still performs well, but you just don't know. I mean, not everybody is Ringo Starr, who's 85 and still touring around and does jumping jacks on stage and whatnot. I mean, I thought that show was really good. I liked pretty much everything about it. I thought the show, it looked good. He was awesome. The band was great. And for a first time seeing Alice Cooper, I was quite impressed.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I love Alice Cooper. I've seen him a few times. I mean, I haven't seen him extensively, but I've seen him, I've probably seen him 4 or 5 times now. And he's just always a lot of fun. Like, you know, my friend Tina always says, every time Alice is in town, I will go to an Alice Cooper show. And I kind of feel the same way. He's just like, it's just a fun night.
I think I'm at that point now, which hopefully I'll get another opportunity, you know, because I missed so many of them in the 90s. And I'm sure he played at the Civic Auditorium in Omaha in the late 80s at one point or two. I just don't remember. And I know he was here in the 70s. It probably was here in the 80s too. I just don't